Hey y'all, Spino here. You know, me being a giant carnivorous dinosaur means I have to constantly go out and look for food, and I haven't been doing that recently. So why not we go on a little hunting safari? My treat. That wasn't a hunting ground, that was just a school full of animals. Listen, I won't lie to you, I'm a massive freaking weeb. So much so that I can't look at a stained white sweater the same way again. You see, whenever I watch something, I don't question too much about it, I just roll with it. To me, everything just makes sense, and if I question it, then it'll ruin the experience. For example, if you told me that there was an anime where Ronnie James uses the power of the Holy Diver to manipulate time, then I wouldn't question it. What I mean is that I'm not the kind of guy who goes overly analytical and digs too deep into things. I'm just a viewer who enjoys what I'm watching. I'm just in it for a good time, that's all. Heck, some of the things in anime just kinda happen. For example, in Zombieland Saga, the main character dies and becomes a zombie, but there's no explanation as to how that happened, and I still enjoyed it. Sure, I do ask how that happened, but I won't let that bog down my experience while watching it. However, there was one anime in particular that I did take issue with, and I did question a lot of things that happened in it. And it all started in the year of 2020. So a few months before the Earth decided to kill itself, there were two anime that premiered almost simultaneously that I happened to watch. One of them was Interspecies Reviewers, about some adventurers going around different brothels with monster girls and ranking them, and it was pretty freaking funny. Not only did I find this to be absolutely hilarious, but it was also seemingly made for people of culture such as myself, so I had to watch it, because monster girls are just that good. Another of which was Seton Academy, which looked like it would have offered me something similar. Oh, and the teachers just so happened to be dinosaurs. How could I say no to that? And I'll tell you right now, some pretentious uptight paleo nerd will watch this and point out every single inaccuracy a dinosaur has in this show. I don't give a shit! It's all about a guy going to a school full of animals. However, he despises animals. Later on, he would meet a wolf girl who wants to start a pack with him. He then meets up with another student who just so happens to be the only other human in the school, and they start a cooking club together, where they meet a bunch of other animals and become their friends. So I barely remembered what happened in this show, but all I knew is that it wasn't that good. So I decided to rewatch it, but I didn't want to rewatch it by myself. So I forced one of the inhabitants of my Discord server against his will to watch it with me. So what did I think of Seton Academy after I rewatched it? I was right, it really wasn't that good. Well, I might as well get the characters out the way. This is Jin, our main character, and he hates animals. Why? Because he was beaten up by bears when he was a kid. Yeah, that's a bit much, don't you think? I mean, I wouldn't hate the entire kingdom, I'll just hate the species. Next, we have the only other human in the school, Hitomi, who is Jin's love interest. Kinda. Because immediately after Jin meets her, he starts simping for her. So much so that he will push anyone out the way just so he could be alone with her. In fact, this happens episodes after Hitomi says that she doesn't have any form of relationship with Jin and friend zones him. Look, if I was in a school full of humans and there just so happened to be a female Spinosaurus in the school, I wouldn't start dating her. I'd be glad that I found another member of my species in the school. Plus, Hitomi acts like the damsel in distress in a lot of episodes. For example, in one episode, she was straight up chloroformed by freaking chimps. A lot of these scenes tend to work without context. What the fuck was that? Next is Ranka, the wolf girl, who wants to start her own pack. Why? Because she was also attacked by 3 bears. Yes, it's revealed that Jin was the one who saved her, well, technically not. That, and she also wanted multiple species in her pack. Oh, and she also has a giant big sister. And yes, I know exactly what you're thinking about. Next is Yukari, the koala. No, not the one with the gaps. All she wants to do is eat stuff other than eucalyptus. That's about it. Oh, unless you count the fact that she also likes to eat animal dung, because koalas actually do that. Yeah, now that's about it. Next is Kurumi the cat girl. She comes in every now and then. Then there's Mayumi the sloth. Now, every anime that I've seen has at least some form of best girl, and this is one of them, because she dies if she does too much of anything. This is the most relatable character in the series. Then we got Mei the panda. She's a celebrity, I guess. I don't really know what she does other than that. And those are just the characters of the main cast. There are other characters that do get introduced, but only in the episode that they're introduced in. Heck, you might even be lucky enough if the character gets his or her own episode. In fact, it's not even worth talking about because a lot of these characters don't seem to do anything to stick out. Someone would get introduced and then they're just put off to the side. That's it. There isn't really that much to say about them, but I will tell you this. There were two characters that I found pretty interesting, and that has to do with their voice actors. Now, I did mention before that the teachers in this show are dinosaurs, but what I didn't know is who voiced the T-Rex. Tyranno Sensei is voiced by Tenjo Genta, and what I didn't know is that he is the Japanese voice actor for Optimus Prime. This guy's a veteran voice actor. He's been doing it for decades. However, unfortunately, I don't know too many of the roles that he has played. I mean, if someone were to ask me what characters that he voices, I probably wouldn't know. For example, do you know who Tenjo Genda is? The voice actor for Imposter Captain Tennille. But then we have Kurumi's voice actress, Sora Toki, and she's the one responsible for this priceless gem. Yep, it's official. Her voice is a meme. Now, if it's one thing that bothered me throughout watching this whole series, it's the design for the female animals. Let's just say that they took the catgirl approach while already having a catgirl. Now, what do I mean when I say that they took the catgirl approach? Well, for the appearance of the female animals, they're represented with just the tails and the ears of the animal that they're representing, compared to the males that actually look like the animal. In fact, besides the tails and the ears, there's no other physical differences. They only behave like the animal that they are. It's even worse for the cetaceans. Let me tell you an anime that does this but better, in Everyday Life with Monster Girls, or Matsumusune. Take, for example, Muru, who's half fish due to her being a mermaid, and because her lower body is essentially a fishtail, she has to be carried in a wheelchair. Not to mention she has other traits of a fish, like how she has gills and is covered in mucus. Because of that, she has to keep her skin moist to prevent herself from drying out. But the only traits the cetaceans have are their tails, and they're walking on land! They might as well just be ambulocetuses! But what also bugs me is that animal abilities will be introduced but weren't used before. In one episode, it's revealed that because Ranka is a wolf, she can essentially smell how a human is feeling based off the chemicals that are released from their bodies. But an episode prior, she's shocked to hear that Jin hates her and other animals. And this is 10 episodes in! This is the same guy who is upset over your mere presence alone, will publicly embarrass a student in front of others, will cage one to benefit another, and will manipulate you to be with someone else. Now I know what you're thinking. Spino, aren't you getting a little bit worked up? Isn't he just the male equivalent of a tsundere? Look, I may not be an expert on when it comes to the certain dairies, but I think the worst that a tsundere could do is slap you in the face and call you either stupid or a pervert. Jin, on the other hand, wants to destroy an entire kingdom of life. In fact, how did a person like Jin end up in a school like this? In fact, that's one of the many questions I have for this show. Now, I know that it may be stupid of me to ask questions of something that's essentially an anime rom-com, but there are so many things in this show that make me scratch my head. For example, why would the teachers allow something that's essentially a gang war happen at the school? Why didn't we get to see the chloroforming monkeys get punished? And one of them just so happened to bring a taser. I'm gonna be honest, that's actually pretty funny. There's another school called Darwin Academy. Get it? Because Charles Darwin? And it's full of megafauna. How exactly did they survive their mass extinctions? And later on they would invade Seton Academy. How come nobody noticed this, especially their teacher? As a matter of fact, who is their teacher? Well, I did a little bit of research and it turns out that this is their teacher, but she only appears in the manga. Her name is Sameno Tazuko, and you may be wondering what kind of species is she? Well, would you believe that she's a Kokara Dontosaurus? They are quite the pain in the sail. Is any of the meat they eat real or fake? I mean, at one point they go out fishing, does that mean they actually have to hunt other people, or in this case, students? And are there other students that aren't mammals? For example, there's a bird that's briefly seen, but he's not in a uniform. They did this with Zootopia, where everyone's a mammal. I just hope that in the next season we get to see a transfer student who's an alligator that has the personality of a crazy Florida man. If any of these have been answered in the manga, please let me know, because I haven't read it yet. Look, I'm not mad at the writers or the creator of this. I just thought that overall, it was pretty bland. I know that I said that it wasn't very good, but I didn't find it to be horribly offensive either. Sure, it had its problems, but it also had its moments too. I won't say that I'm a fan of the series, but I'll casually watch it if given the chance. And sure, if it comes out with the season 2, I'll watch it for the heck of it. And I will admit, there are some things in the show that I didn't even mention in this video, which, isn't just me being lazy, I'll tell you that. But do I recommend Seton Academy? Well, I'm not going to tell you to not watch it. If you're watching it for the monster girls, there are much better alternatives than this. But if you're going to watch it casually and not think that much of it, or watch it with your friends, then go right ahead. I don't mind. Don't try to overthink things like I did, just watch it as you please. To me, I'm just very neutral about the show. I don't like it, but I don't necessarily hate it. But please, if you guys have seen this before, let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that will be. Oh, you're still here? Well, allow me to take the time to tell you about King. He's pretty much a lion who wants to ditch his lioness harem for an impala, who is voiced by none other than Temukitsu Sagita, who is also the voice of ya boy, young Joseph Joestar. Now, why did I feel the need to talk about this at the end? Because after the end credits of some Seton Academy episodes, there's usually a story between King and that impala chick. That, and I also forgot that this existed while rewatching the series with Dr. Doom, so it's not even worth talking about. And this video was planned back in February and into March, but I made that Godzilla video instead, and it paid off very well thanks to you guys. And I'm hoping that this video does good as well, because it's like, what, 6 in the morning, and by the time this gets uploaded it'll be like 7 or so. And I've been working since 9. Well, I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that'll be.